the defending and the undefeated WBC and WBA welterweight and super welterweight champion of the world, introducing Floyd Mayweather.
And there's a stiff right hand to the body by Mayweather.
Very good when he gets tired.
Good quick left hook by Mayweather as Hatton came in. Sometimes it's the right hand, sometimes it's the left hook. Huge round for Mayweather here in the eighth.
When people talk about Floyd Mayweather's defense, the conversation almost always begins and ends with the shoulder roll. It's become his trademark. The Philly shell stance, the subtle lean back, the counter right hand. But the truth is, that's only the surface. Floyd Mayweather was so much more than a slick outside fighter. One of the most underappreciated aspects of his game was his inside defense. The way he used subtle techniques in tight quarters, not to engage in brawls, but to control space, break posture, and reset the fight on his terms. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on 3 hidden defensive tricks Floyd used to dominate in the ring. Techniques that allowed him to control where the fight went and score throughout the rounds, even when his opponent tried to get on the inside and rough him up. Floyd Mayweather wanted fights to happen at his range. But boxing against world champions will always present difficult moments and danger.
He looks wound up and tight. There's a hard right hand.
Most of his opponents had a similar game plan. Heavy pressure paired with rough, phone booth fighting. And when they tried, Floyd always had an answer. The first answer was the bump-in technique. Most fighters bump in to initiate a fight on the inside, but Floyd used it in another way. He used the bump-in defensively. When opponents tried to close the gap and pressure him, Floyd would meet them halfway, not to trade shots in the pocket, but to smother his opponent and stop their momentum while staying somewhat safe from big impacts. He would lean in with his shoulder or chest, take away the punching space, but this wasn't a passive clinch. Floyd would take the initiative. If he saw an opponent stepping in aggressively, rather than backing up and giving ground, he would step in hard to collapse the space. This allowed him to dictate when and where the meaningful skirmishes occurred. By bumping in with his own timing, he could shut down flurries, lean on opponents, and get the referee to separate them. In practice, this operated like a bit of a reset button, where he could buy himself a bit of time and disrupt the opponent's flow. The opponent burned energy trying to get close, and Floyd just absorbed it, smothered it, and slid back out to his preferred range. This is where Floyd's overall fight IQ really shines. He understood that pressure can be reversed, not by trading, but by engaging with control on the inside. The bump-in was his way of stopping fights before they started. Mayweather was great because all of these tricks were easily chained together throughout a boxing match. He was able to use them all at once. When he would close the distance or bump into an opponent, it would lead to something else, like him implementing his L guard. Operating out of his signature Philly shell, or the Mayweather defense as he calls it, Floyd's lead arm wasn't just hanging low for style, it was poised to become a valuable weapon. With a simple lift of his forearm, Floyd could form an L shape, pressing his forearm horizontally against the opponent's guard or chest. That lead arm acted like a steel bar. It gave him positional advantages to block punches, disrupt rhythm, set hand traps, and it created just enough space for Floyd to escape or counter. The way Mayweather used this guard was so crafty. It wasn't just a shield to bully opponents or block the heavy punches, he also leveraged it for hand fighting. He would lay his lead arm across the opponent's lead or rear hand, which not only snuffed out their punches, but also created space for counters. It gave Floyd just enough control to find defensive gaps and capitalize on them. Really, he used his forearm better than anybody. Mayweather would manipulate his opponents by trapping the hands to land a shot, or by blinding the opponent's view to land an uppercut. This technique created so much for Floyd. We can look to his bout with Ricky Hatton for a perfect example. In the bout, Hatton fought with a ton of forward pressure, eager to fight Floyd on the inside. When Mayweather would let him in, it was like Hatton was stepping into a house of pain. In this clip, Floyd uses the L guard to create space on Hatton before stabbing him with some gut-wrenching uppercuts. Again, Mayweather's guard positioning allowed him to use all of his tools, including his near-patented shoulder roll when his adversaries had the space to flurry. But Floyd could even halt potential fight enders with just his elbow. And that high-level experience also popped up when Mayweather would push the limits of legality, especially if he had a permissive ref that let him work on the inside. In short, Mayweather was as crafty as he was athletic. When opponents got desperate, overcommitted, or dropped their heads to try and bully Floyd on the inside, that's when he'd use another one of his tricks: pulling and pushing the head of his opponent. Floyd didn't just slip punches and use his head movement, he disrupted body alignment. If a dangerous fighter like Diego Corrales ducked too low or overextended trying to land a punch, Floyd would manipulate their head and throw off their balance to sap their energy. I mean, look how much weight he puts on Mosley here. Mayweather's feet are nearly off the ground. Pressing down on his opponents didn't just alter their posture or add a Mayweather-sized weight around their neck, but it also limited their ability to see incoming punches or target meaningful offense of their own. He used this trick not as a clinching technique, but to get out of harm's way and make space. And not to mention, make opponents pay on the way out. To accomplish this, Mayweather used what some might call the doorknob, a technique that allows a fighter to pivot off the ropes and into open space. Think of it like a boxing-style escape hatch. Floyd would grab a control point, maybe the opponent's glove, elbow, shoulder, head, or even hip, and twist or shove it to one side. At the same time, he'd pivot in the opposite direction. But what makes the doorknob so clever is its simplicity. It doesn't look like much, just a quick push and turn, but it completely flips the geography of the ring. Floyd Mayweather's defense wasn't built on reflexes alone. It was about positional dominance, and these hidden techniques, the bump end to smother attacks, the L guard to trap and block, posture manipulation, and the doorknob escape, all were used to control the fight and be one of the most dominant boxers ever. He was able to chain all of these tricks together in the heat of battle with seemingly little effort. For aspiring fighters and students of the game, these are the details that separate good defense from elite defense. So, if you want to emulate Floyd Mayweather, don't just copy the shoulder roll. Study the clinch, study the framing, study how he manipulated posture, created angles, and turned defense into offense. Because that's the genius of Floyd Mayweather. He didn't just avoid the fight, he controlled it, from the outside, the inside, and everywhere in between. From the Modern Martial Artist, this has been Coby McKinley, wishing you happy training.